Welcome, everyone. Um, I am Kristin Hughes, and I'm going to be moderating this chat today. But I am with Odyssey Information Services. We're based in Plano, Texas, and we focus on IT consulting, recruiting. And so today we wanted to chat about the job market. Rejections, resignations, and retention is what we're going to talk about because there's a lot going on. And I'm joined by Shelley Casino. Wave Shelley. So Shelley is our director of recruiting, as well as Ben Coan. He oversees our sales teams. And we're just going to go back and forth today. Feel free to comment, anything in the chat. I'll be paying attention. And we'd love to, address any questions that you may have specifically. But let's get into it. I will get our little view right here. And this is only our second LinkedIn Live. So again, deal with us on technical issues, but we will do our best. Let's just chat about kind of the one thing I think everybody's experiencing, offer rejects, right? So as a hiring manager, as a HR team, I think we're all seeing a lot of that right now. So I don't know, Shelley, what do you want to say? Like, what do you think is the number one reason or some of the top reasons candidates are rejecting offers today?
Well, I would say we need to really know what the candidates want. I think that the more we understand what their hot buttons are, what's motivating them on their next opportunity, that's really going to help us present a good offer to them. Of course, we're on the agency side, so before we present an opportunity, or match them with one of our clients, we're really trying to dig in to see what their motivators are, what they're looking for, so we can present that to our clients as well. And I think if a talent acquisition person is talking to a candidate, they need to be doing more than just checking the boxes, seeing if they have the skills, seeing if they have a fit. Get to know them as a person, give them a good candidate experience, see what their motivators are. And it could be a lot of things. It could be money. It could be remote. It could be a team environment, technology. There's so many different things.
Yeah, we're already getting some comments about salary, right? That's definitely getting, driven up right now. And there's companies that are, throwing money, I think, at people and understand that. And there's others that are, they're trying to stay consistent with what their current employees are being paid. And so they don't want to bring people on at a, 30% higher rate than maybe a senior person. So, there is vice versa, but definitely as a hiring manager, I think looking at what your current team is being paid as well as you're bringing on new people, that addresses also some of the retention, issues that we've been seeing. So, Ben, we were chatting about this as well. We talked about reaction to an offer reject. If you are a manager, you deal a lot with working directly with managers. What are you seeing, just from that side of the house?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks again for letting me join this today. I missed the first one, but I appreciate the opportunity. And you guys are amazing recruiters, and it's nice to work with you guys. And I do more of the sales side for what Odyssey does, meaning I interact more with the client. So I'm hearing a lot of those reactions. Some positive, some negative, of course.
Yeah.
I think people are past the mad stage on people not accepting their offers. It's more of what can we do, I think, as an employer to make things better. The only way they can make things better is by listening to the people that they're interviewing and us to explain why they're not getting those qualified people. Is it money? Is it opportunity? As an agency, as what Shelley mentioned, we have to find those motivators, but then that has to be told to the client. And so they know what to expect and cater that conversation to that individual and not just do a cookie cutter approach to an interview. They've got to make it more personal. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll help reduce those offer rejects. But it is hot. It's a hot market. It's a great candidate market to be in. And so, there's not mad. It's just a matter of communication at this point and making it better.
So I was reading something yesterday from Chris Hoyt. He's kind of a leader in the recruiting community. He's from Dallas as well, but he's with a company that they pretty much are talk to leaders and, about the market and do analysis. But transparency was one of the number one things, not just, from both sides, from the candidate, from the company. Because again, I think with COVID, we're still dealing with the aftermath of what that's done. And I think somebody else commented too, it's like the mindset that employees need strict control over what we're doing when we're not sitting in an office has definitely shifted, right? We were talking about that yesterday too, Ben.
Yeah.
You're saying, you could do a load of laundry and then hop on a call, you're getting more personal things done. So therefore you're going to overall be a more satisfied, employee and
you'll stay longer, where you're at because you're happy. Right.
Yeah, definitely. So what else? So we talked about money, remote competition, anything else, that we're seeing that's kind of playing a role right now?
I think employers, I think the people what is motivating people to leave is that sometimes they feel like they're not being listened to by their current employer. And so they're hearing all of this going on, but they're not getting to be part of it and participate in it. And so it makes them want to look outside. But I think if there was a good way to communicate with your management and change a few policies to make it more of a hybrid work environment, or some type, make it more fun and interactive as a collaborative group, that might be useful. But if you feel like you're in a doldrum day in, day out, just doing the rat in the wheel kind of thing, you're going to start looking. That's just part of it.
Yeah. So yeah, and as part of the retention, as a manager, I'd be looking at your team. I'd be starting to meet with them and regularly, because let's be honest, they're getting messages every day, on LinkedIn probably about new jobs and new offers. If you are as their hiring manager, they're probably getting multiple, more than you. So just be aware of that. And again, I think it's just about chatting. Yeah, Shelley, go ahead.
No, I definitely agree. And I feel like I've recruited a lot of new candidates recently because the employers are just bringing this blanket, we're coming back into the office approach. And it's like, as soon as that happens, I feel like they start looking, and it's kind of been a benefit for us, actually. So we've gotten some good people. Yeah,
definitely. It is a good time to do that as a strategy. If you're looking, look at those types of companies that are kind of forcing the return to work. Because some are okay with it and like that environment, and then others are much more comfortable, working from home and dialing in. So we were also talking about some tips yesterday. Both Ben and Shelley, y'all were kind of going back and forth about, developers, for example. We focus on IT, right? And so as a developer, whatever language you develop in, you're going to have a lot of options. So it's, long interview processes, things like that. But what are some tips? I know you guys have been working with clients here locally on ways to, improve the acceptance of offers and, that percentage. So if you want to talk a little bit about just tips for hiring managers and employees, or, employers.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley, you can take.
Sure. All right. What we've been talking about is that employers need to, when they're interviewing the candidate, really give them a good candidate experience by sharing with them details about the company, what their culture is like, what the position is like, what the team is, give their, like Ben had said, give their personal story. Like, how did they start? What was their promotability? What do they like about the company? I feel like a lot of the employers are so worried about getting the right skilled candidate and checking all the boxes for all the skills. They're forgetting that they need to sell their opportunity, that the candidate is actually also interviewing them. You know, they're interviewing the candidate, but the candidate is interviewing them and trying to decide, is this a company I want to go to work for? So the employer mindset really needs to change in the sense of, yes, we want to get the best candidate, but to get the best candidate, we're going to have to put our best foot forward and really tell them why our company is a company they'd want to come to work for.
Yeah, I agree with all that, Shelley. You know, I think when a first interview, especially, you're trying to put your best foot forward and look polished and perfect, right? But in reality, I think there's still needs that you as a person are listening for and looking for and hope you hear. And if you, and I know this is going to sound strange, but I think if you were just to get on that level, like you're talking about, a personal level, and to say, okay, here's what I'm really looking for. It are these things that I can do, and just almost put yourself like you're the interviewer, and you'll get what you want, and then you'll have less rejects because you've got the answers that you're looking for, versus someone just really just talking to you, talking at you, I should say, versus talking to you. I think that's important. It's a two-way street, and so especially right now, it's funny. There's a pendulum of it's an employer market sometimes, and it's a candidate, and right now it's clearly the candidate. And I think employers really need to see the fact that they need to listen and get on that personal level. So,
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, I've seen that as well. And, you know, they're spending that first interview really getting into, hey, Ben, you know, well, tell me, how do you like to work? Like, what are your favorite projects? Like, tell me what you want to do and your goals. And they're approaching it from that aspect rather than, okay, do you have 5 years of .NET API? You know, it's like really talking about, is this a fit? Like, can you come here and grow and make a difference? And I've seen it where candidates will accept lower salaries, you know, compared to another offer where maybe they didn't get really that sense that they were joining a company that they were going to be able to achieve their goals or grow or learn. So, I mean, it's important to make sure that those things are lining up, you know, as a hiring team. So looking at that interview process, I think, yeah, one of the number one things that people can do. What else comments do we have? Yeah, same thing. I mean, people are, you know, they're kind of saying about being flexible, not just necessarily sticking to maybe a two-week only bonus. If it's a long-term employee that's coming to you with 5 weeks of vacation, can you be flexible, you know, work something out with them? Ben, you had mentioned something yesterday, like an idea about remote versus on-site and looking at salaries, you know, if somebody's commuting in.
Right. I just mentioned in our, when we were testing everything out yesterday that, that clearly remote is it's something people want, right? But those that are willing to go in, that's an extra thing that they're nowadays. It's an extra thing. It used to be common, right? But why not give them an advantage of an extra day off every so often, or additional pay or something like that? Just be creative.
Yeah.
Send them to the state fair. I mean, be creative. You can do things that are reward a person that just makes them feel good. And when you make the person feel good, that makes them want to stay around longer. I mean, Shelley, you and I have been at Odyssey for a long time. I mean, Shelley and I 20 plus years, and you're catching up with us, it seems like. So,
Yeah.
I mean, from my experience here at Odyssey, there's a lot of flexibility, and John trusts us to do our job, and he's always looking out for us and putting us first. And that's what's made me stay around. And so if I think if other employees feel that way too, then they'll stick around too.
Yep. Trust. I think that's the key word there. Is just trusting your employees. So, what else? So we talked about the approach. We talked about really just shifting and being more proactive versus reactive. So go ahead and I think assume that the people you're interviewing are going to be having, multiple interviews, multiple offers. So goes back to what Shelley said and sell your opportunity. What Ben said, be creative. I think all of these are important things to talk about.
Don't be rigid, I think, in your process too. I mean, be adaptive. We've had clients here recently that were originally it was going to be a 3 interview process, and they've narrowed it down to 1, and really are going to try to focus on getting what they can quicker, because they're seeing people off the market in 3 or 4 days and getting multiple offers. And so I think setting expectations with the client of what a candidate's availability and what their windows are, and setting the same expectations with the candidates of this is how long it normally takes, be prepared for this, are you willing to do it, or it's really important to set up front those boundaries.
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's listening, it's being a human, being a person, not just checking boxes, really trying to make a fit, make a match, right? All kinds of different things. Oh yeah, this was interesting. So yeah, the interview process too, we talked about that. Somebody mentioned something about he rejected an offer because the hiring manager had their camera off during the interview. So we see it flip, right? Like, what are you hiding? No. So I mean, video interviews is the new thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's we should all be used to Zooms and stuff by now.
I feel like it's creepy.
You would think.
I feel like it's creepy if one person has theirs off and you have yours on. I don't know. It's like it's either all or nothing. We're all on video or we're not.
Just a tip for anyone out there, and you would think this is common sense, but dress professionally. You know what I mean? Have your workspace cleared. Don't wear a hat. Don't wear a Def Leppard t-shirt. Act like you're sitting right in front of the employer, because that is something that they're looking at. And so, I mean, there's so many stories that we could tell you.
Here's
about
one.
People.
Make sure if you're in the basement that you have good internet. So a good internet connection. So bad internet connections, that makes the employers wonder, is this like a real candidate? Are we getting scammed? Like what's going on? Have a good connection.
And you're
Test it
working
out.
remote, so it's like if the connection's terrible, then it's like
that's a bad sign. Yeah. How is the remote going to work if your internet isn't good? So, don't have people walking behind you in the background, or babies crying in the background.
Dogs barking.
Yeah, and some of our employers like to see the real setting behind you, rather than the fake settings, just to, I don't know, it makes it seem more real in that,
right?
And that you're really where you say you are, type thing. But those are things that sometimes you don't even think about.
Yep. Yeah, and we definitely, as a recruiter, we're doing that now with all of our candidates pretty much. We used to have people come in the office. Now we're doing Teams calls, and it's a great chance to try it out with us. So if you're working with a recruiter, hopefully they're willing to do that with you as well, because it's, it's trying it out, testing it out, making you more comfortable as well. Because definitely some people, as far as interviews go, I know it's, if they've been in a job for a while, they may not have done this before, and it can be it's a shift. It's definitely different than in person.
And when you're doing different video type of interviews, sometimes I feel like your computer messes up when you jump on a Zoom or a Teams. Like the settings sometimes get a little wonky. So it is always good to do a practice before, just to make sure everything is working, your video and your audio and all of that.
Yep. We were a couple minutes late because we had the same issue.
Yeah, so, exactly.
That's how it goes. Other people are kind of saying the same thing, just make sure you have a good webcam, HD quality, and make sure you're using good lighting, things like that. So,
yeah. The blurry isn't good. Fuzzy, blurry isn't good.
So what else would you suggest about maybe retention? We kind of touched on that a little bit. There was a study that Nate, our marketing guru, included for us here, but he said, it's Willis Towers Watson said the Great Resignation, that term is still getting used, is going to continue throughout this year, with nearly half of the employees out there saying that they're open to new opportunities or actively looking actually for a new job. So, yes, the focus is on hiring new talent, but, any advice for hiring teams, HR teams, on what they can be doing strategy wise, with their current employees?
I think create the culture, create a good culture at your company where people want to work, where where it's maybe not just, where it creates more of a family, where they're connected. Just like Ben said, we have trust, we have trust, but we have a good culture at Odyssey. And that's, I think, why a lot of people stay here long term. It's hard to find in this business a company like that, in the staffing business. But
I would, something to think about is, since a lot of employees now are remote, they aren't in that collaborative environment every day. There's not that real connection on a personal level. There needs to be some way for an employer to keep that connectivity, either do a collaborative conversation like this for the group, and just have them, instead of talking about, they can talk about work, but they need to be talking about just how everyone's doing and, experiences among the team to develop more rapport. Because right now you're on an island almost. And if you don't keep those individuals, with your arms around them and knowing what's going on, there's a high probability that someone is trying to woo them, and they will get cherry picked. There's enough money and opportunities right now. So that's my recommendation is, since people are remote and it isn't close, we still come in from a hybrid environment, so we see each other, and it keeps you tied to each other. I think if you're away, you kind of, while it's great for you and your family, it's not great for the employer-employee relationship. So you need to cultivate that employee a little bit from an employer perspective.
Some employers are doing kind of where they do kind of team building events where they'll, like get everybody together maybe every quarter or something, where they bring people together. But I guess, it works if they're in the local market.
Right.
If they're not, then it's a little bit more difficult. But I've seen that.
Yeah. I think anything like that. I've seen a company that's 100% remote. Like, they do a big thing once a year where they fly everybody in. I know that's only once a year, but then they obviously are doing things daily in meetings like this. But yeah, I think, from a boss's perspective, I think, just regularly meeting with your team, as a leader and individuals. And again, talking about those things like, are you happy? What would you like to see more? Just kind of talking to them and making sure that they are happy, fulfilled, if they would like anything different. I just think, again, it's about communication, transparency. I think that's all that we're all looking for, right? It's just honesty and openness. I've seen that so much more now than ever before. So I think, that pretty much covers kind of everything we wanted to discuss. Feel free to reach out and connect with us. So there's our email addresses, phone numbers, and then obviously we're on LinkedIn right now. So you guys can, chat with us there as well.
Hey, what about asking if anyone has any topics like for future discussions?
Oh, yeah.
Any future discussion topics they'd like to hear?
Yes. So if anybody, what do you want to discuss next time? So again, chat after the fact. We'll be able to see that as well. But yeah, we'd love to know what you want to know more about, what you want to hear about. Happy to cover it. We'd love to do this, once a month, just kind of get together and chat. So yeah, hopefully we will see you guys next time. And yeah, we appreciate it.
All right.
See you then.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.